Ambassador Lee Jinwoo walked through the long metal corridors of Nexus Prime Station. His black diplomatic uniform felt heavy on his shoulders. Behind him, his two assistants followed quietly. Park Miho carried a data pad with important notes. Kim Dae-hee held a small recording device. The station was huge and cold. Alien beings moved past them in the hallways. Some had 4 arms. Others had scales instead of skin. A few floated in the air, using strange technology. But none of them looked at the humans in a friendly way. Jinwoo had been coming to this place for 3 years. 3 long years of meetings and talks. 3 years of trying to make friends with the galaxy. But today felt different. Today felt final. They reached the big chamber where the Galactic Council met. The doors were made of some kind of blue metal that hummed with energy. When they opened, Jinwoo saw the same scene he had seen many times before. But this time, he knew it would be the last time. The chamber was shaped like a half circle. At the curved end sat 3 groups of aliens. Each group was more powerful than most planets. Each group had ruled parts of the galaxy for thousands of years. On the left sat the Vorthak Empire representatives. They looked like living crystals that could change colors. Right now, they were glowing a cold blue color. This meant they were not happy. The Vorthak had ruled the galaxy longer than any other race. They thought they knew everything. In the middle sat the Kepler Federation delegates. They looked like giant insects, but walked on 2 legs like humans. Their black eyes never blinked. They were soldiers and warriors. They respected only strength and fear. On the right sat the Zephyrian Collective members. They were thin and tall with gray skin. They cared only about money and trade. They saw everything as something to buy or sell. Jinwoo sat down at the small table facing them. His assistant sat behind him. The chamber became very quiet. Even the air recycling systems seemed to stop making noise. The lead Vorthak delegate began to glow brighter. When Vorthak got excited or angry, they glowed more. This one was getting very bright. Ambassador Lee, the Vorthak said. Its voice sounded like breaking glass. We have made our final decision about humanity. Jinwoo said nothing. He had learned that silence was powerful in these meetings. Let them talk first. Let them show their true feelings. The Kepler delegate clicked its sharp mouth parts together. This was how they showed they were thinking. Your species has been under review for 3 years. We have watched your colonies. We have studied your technology. We have tested your intentions. And Jinwoo asked quietly. The Zephyrian delegate spoke in a voice that sounded like wind through metal. And we have decided that humans can join the galactic community, but only under special conditions. Here it comes, Jinwoo thought. The trap they have been building for 3 years. The Vorthak delegate's crystal body flashed bright red. First condition. All human technology must be checked by our scientists before you can use it. We will decide what is safe and what is dangerous. Jinwoo's face did not change, but inside he felt anger growing. The Kepler delegate continued. Second condition. Human colonies cannot expand beyond your current 12 star systems. You will stay in that small area forever. The anger grew stronger, but Jinwoo's training kept his face calm. The Zephyrian finished the list. Third condition. In all council votes, humanity will have junior status. This means your opinion counts less than ours. This will last for 200 years. The chamber became silent again. Jinwoo could hear his own heartbeat. Behind him, Park Miho stopped writing notes. Kim Dae-hee turned off her recording device. 200 years of being treated like children, forever trapped in 12 star systems. Every human invention controlled by aliens who feared them. The Vorthak delegate began glowing even brighter. These conditions are not open for discussion. You will accept them, or humanity will remain outside galactic civilization forever. Jinwoo looked at each alien face. He saw fear behind their demands. They were afraid of what humans might become. They were afraid of human creativity and determination. So they wanted to put humans in a cage. Slowly, Jinwoo stood up. His chair made a small scraping sound on the metal floor. All the alien delegates leaned forward, expecting to argue or beg. Instead, Jinwoo's voice was calm and quiet. We decline. The words hung in the air like a bomb about to explode. The Kepler delegate's mouth parts clicked rapidly. You cannot decline. This is the only offer. Jinwoo turned toward the door. His assistants quickly gathered their things and followed him. Ambassador, the Vorthak delegate called out, now glowing so bright it hurt to look at. You do not understand. Without us, humanity has no future among the stars. Jinwoo stopped at the door, but did not turn around. You are wrong, he said quietly. Without respect, humanity has no future with you. The doors closed behind them with a final sound. In the hallway, Park Miho and Kim Dae-hee looked worried. Sir, Park whispered, what happens now? Jinwoo smiled for the first time in months. Now we show them what humans can really do. None of them knew that this moment would change the galaxy forever. Captain Yoon Tae-yoon got the message at exactly 6 in the morning. He was drinking coffee in his small cabin on the mining station above Kepler 442c. The message was short and simple. Execute Protocol Exodus. All human personnel and equipment to be removed in 14 days. Tae-yoon had hoped he would never see those words. But every human leader in the galaxy had been prepared for this moment. They all knew that one day, the talks might fail completely. He pressed the emergency button on his desk. Loud alarms began ringing throughout the station. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Within minutes, his officers were running to the command center. What's happening, sir? Asked Lieutenant Bae Suzy, his second in command. She looked worried and confused. Tae-yoon held up the message pad. We're leaving. All of us. Everything we built here. The mining station was huge. It had taken 5 years to build and employed 3,000 humans. They pulled valuable metals from a planet below and shipped them all over the galaxy. Many alien species depended on these metals for their technology, but now it all had to go. Within hours, something amazing began happening across human space. On colony worlds, research stations, and trading posts, humans got the same message. Execute Protocol Exodus. Leave everything behind. Dr. Song Myri was studying alien plants on a research station near Zephyrian space. She had spent 8 years learning about how these plants could help make new medicines. When the message came, she felt like crying. All her work, all her discoveries would be lost. But then she remembered her training. Every human scientist had been taught what to do if this day came. She began packing her most important research. Her team worked day and night to say what they could. Across the galaxy, massive transport ships began appearing from hyperspace. These ships were bigger than anything most aliens had ever seen. They moved with perfect timing, like dancers following the same music. The aliens who saw this happening at first thought it was just angry behavior. Surely the humans would calm down and come back in a few weeks. Surely they would realize they needed the galactic community more than the galactic community needed them. They were very wrong. On the trading world of New Busan, Colony Administrator Choi Hyun-woo watched as his people dismantled their entire city. The fusion power plant that gave energy to half the planet was carefully taken apart. The quantum computers that processed trade for 3 star systems were packed into special containers. Are we really taking everything? Asked his assistant, Park Young-ho. Hyun-woo nodded. Everything useful. We built it, we take it. This was happening everywhere. Humans didn't just pack their clothes and leave. They took their technology. They took their machines. They even took the special materials they had invented. The alien governments began to worry when they realized what was happening. The Zephyrian Collective's trade computers started showing problems. Many of their systems used human-made parts. Without humans to fix them, the computers began to fail. The Kepler Federation discovered that their military networks depended on human software. General Kong Jaiwin's tactical programs had been installed in their warships for 10 years. Now those programs were being remotely deleted by their human creators. Even the proud Vorthak Empire found problems. Their energy systems used human fusion technology. Without human engineers to maintain them, their cities began having power failures. But the humans didn't seem to care about these problems. They just kept packing and leaving. Captain Nam Sui commanded a convoy of transport ships leaving the Titan's Gate mining system. Her ships carried enough rare metals to build 1,000 space stations. As her convoy jumped to hyperspace, she looked back at the empty mining platform they were leaving behind. "Where are we going, Captain?" asked her navigator. "Beyond the rim," she said quietly. "Beyond the galaxy's edge." This surprised everyone who heard it. The galactic rim was the edge of known space. Beyond it was just empty darkness between galaxies. No one lived there. No one even explored there much. But that's where the humans were going. Week after week, human ships disappeared into the dark space beyond the galaxy. They didn't go back to Earth or Mars or any of the other human homeworlds. They went further, much further. The alien news services tried to make jokes about it. They said humans were acting like children having a tantrum. They said humans would come back begging for forgiveness when they got hungry and cold in the empty space. But careful alien observers noticed something strange. The human ships moved with military precision. Every departure was planned perfectly. Nothing was left to chance. This wasn't a tantrum. This was a plan. Dr. Huang Yunji was the last human scientist to leave Zephyrian space. As her ship prepared to jump to hyperspace, she sent one final message to her alien colleagues. "You think we are running away," she transmitted. "You are wrong. We are going somewhere you cannot follow, somewhere you cannot control us. Goodbye." Her ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind only empty laboratories and confused aliens. In 6 months, every human had left the galaxy. 300 million people, thousands of ships, hundreds of space stations, all gone. The galaxy suddenly felt very quiet and very empty. And for the first time, the alien leaders began to wonder if they had made a terrible mistake. 6 months had passed since the last human ship disappeared into the darkness beyond the galaxy. The Galactic Council met in the same chamber, where they had given humanity their final ultimatum. But now the room felt different, colder, more empty. The Vorthak delegate glowed with satisfied blue light. "The human problem has been solved," he announced to the other council members. "They have removed themselves from civilized space. We can now focus on important matters." The other aliens nodded in agreement. They had more pressing things to worry about than a few million humans floating in empty space. Trade routes needed to be reorganized. New mining operations needed to be started. The galaxy would continue without humanity. But then the problems began. Trade Minister Park Young-ho's final message still played in the Zephyrian archives. "All diplomatic channels are permanently closed. Do not attempt to follow." The message was cold and final. No anger, no threats, just a simple statement of fact. Chief Engineer Nam Sui had designed fusion reactors for the Vorthak Empire. These reactors powered their greatest cities and largest space stations. For 15 years, they had worked perfectly. But now, strange things were happening. The main reactor on Vorthak Prime began making unusual noises. Warning lights flashed yellow, then red. The Vorthak engineers tried to fix the problems, but they didn't understand human technology well enough. Within weeks, the reactors shut down completely. Similar problems happened across Vorthak space. Power plants failed. Life support systems broke down. Transportation networks stopped working, all because they had been built using human designs that only humans truly understood. The Kepler Federation faced even worse troubles. General Kong Jaiwan had created military software that made their fleets nearly unbeatable. His tactical programs could predict enemy movements and coordinate thousands of ships at once. The Kepler military had used these programs for so long that they forgot how to fight without them. But now the programs were acting strangely. Commands were ignored. Battle plans became confused. Some programs simply deleted themselves. It was as if the human-made software was refusing to work for its alien users. The Zephyrian Collective watched their economy collapse piece by piece. Quantum computers that processed millions of trades per second began making errors. Manufacturing systems that had built their wealth for decades simply stopped working. Transportation networks that moved goods across star systems became unreliable. Dr. Huang Yunji's parting words began to make sense. "You'll understand what you have lost." The Galactic Council tried to contact humanity. They sent messages to the edge of the galaxy where human ships had been seen. They broadcast on every frequency that humans had ever used. They even sent physical messengers in fast ships. But the response was always the same. An automated message in perfect galactic standard. All communication channels are closed. Stand by for further instructions. No human voices. No human faces. Just cold, mechanical responses that told them nothing. Worse than the failing technology were the reports from the galactic rim. Long-range sensors detected massive energy readings in the space between galaxies. The signals were unlike anything in the known databases. Dr. Lim Sungmin, the collective's best scientist, studied the readings for weeks. What he found made no sense. The energy outputs we're measuring, he reported to the council, suggest industrial operations on a scale we've never seen. Something is being built out there. Something very large. The energy signatures moved through the intergalactic void in patterns that seemed almost organized, like a vast construction project spanning millions of kilometers. But that was impossible. No known technology could build anything that large. No known species had that kind of power. Investigation fleets were sent to the galactic edge. Fast scout ships with the best sensors available. Most never returned. Those that did brought back only more questions. Scout Commander O. Minji led one of the few successful missions. Her report terrified everyone who heard it. We detected artificial structures in the void beyond the galaxy. The scale is incomprehensible. Whatever humanity is building out there, it makes our largest space stations look like toys. But when other ships tried to investigate the same areas, they found nothing. Empty space. As if the structures could appear and disappear at will. The silence from humanity was complete and absolute. No trade requests. No diplomatic messages. No scientific communications. It was as if 300 million humans had simply vanished from the universe. Months turned into a full year. The problems in galactic civilization grew worse. Without human innovation, technology began to stagnate. Without human trade, economic systems collapsed. Without human research, scientific progress stopped. The proud alien civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for millennia found themselves struggling with basic problems. How do you maintain a fusion reactor when the designer is gone? How do you fix quantum computers when the programmers have disappeared? How do you run a galactic economy when key trade partners have vanished? For the first time in their long history, the galactic powers began to feel helpless. They had built their civilizations on foundations that included human knowledge and human work. Now those foundations were cracking. In the darkness between galaxies, humanity was building something. The energy readings grew stronger each day. But what they were building and why they were building it remained a mystery. The galaxy was learning what it meant to be alone, and they didn't like the lesson. 18 months after humanity vanished from the galaxy, Scout Commander O. Minji prepared for the most dangerous mission of her career. Her ship, the Swift Arrow, was the fastest vessel in the Kepler Federation fleet. She had been chosen to find out what humans were doing in the dark space beyond the galaxy. "Are you sure about this, Commander?" asked her pilot, Lieutenant Kim Sojun. He looked nervous as he checked the navigation systems. No ship has returned from the deep void with useful information. Minji nodded grimly. "That's why we're going further than anyone has gone before. We need answers." Her crew of 12 was the best the Federation could offer. They had volunteered for a mission that might be suicide. The readings from the galactic edge showed energy signatures that didn't make sense. Something huge was happening in the empty space between galaxies, and they needed to know what it was. The Swift Arrow jumped to hyperspace and began the long journey to the galaxy's edge. It took 3 weeks to reach the border where space became truly empty. Here, the nearest star was millions of light years away. Here, only darkness existed. But the darkness wasn't empty. "Commander," called out Sensor Operator Bayayunki, his voice tight with fear. "I'm reading massive structures ahead. The size is impossible." Minji moved to his station and looked at the displays. What she saw made her heart race. Stretching across the void were constructions that dwarfed entire solar systems. metal frameworks that could hold 1,000 planets, energy conduits that pulse with more power than most stars. How is this possible? Whispered Kim Seoljun. Who could build something this large? But Minji already knew the answer. Only one species had disappeared from the galaxy 18 months ago. Only one species had the creativity and determination to attempt something this incredible. It's humanity, she said quietly. But they're not the same humans who left. The structures were clearly human in design, but they were far beyond anything humans had built before. The technology seemed centuries more advanced than what they had shown in the galaxy. Clean lines, perfect geometry, materials that seemed to bend light around them. Take us closer, Minji ordered. But slowly. We don't want to appear threatening. As they moved through the massive construction zone, they saw more incredible sights. Ships that were sleek and beautiful, moving with impossible speed between the structures. Manufacturing plants that seemed to create materials from pure energy. Living quarters that could house millions of people in comfort. And everywhere, the signs of rapid expansion. New sections being added to existing structures. New ships rolling out of vast shipyards. New technologies being tested in the empty void. Commander, Hyunki called out urgently. We're being scanned. Something is approaching fast. On the main screen, a ship appeared that took Minji's breath away. It was clearly human in origin, but unlike any human vessel she had ever seen. It was smooth and graceful, like a work of art that could also travel faster than light. No weapons were visible, but somehow it felt more dangerous than any warship. The human ship moved with fluid grace, positioning itself between the swift arrow and the megastructures. It made no aggressive moves, but the message was clear. Go no further. Then it spoke. The voice that came through their communication system was human, but calm and confident in a way that made Minji nervous. Unknown vessel. You have entered restricted space. State your purpose. Minji activated her transmitter. This is Scout Commander O. Minji of the Kepler Federation. We are here on a peaceful mission to re-establish contact with humanity. There was a long pause. When the human voice returned, it carried a note of something that might have been amusement. Ah, the Kepler Federation. The ones who wanted to limit our colonies to 12 systems. The voice paused again. You were warned 18 months ago to maintain your distance. That warning still stands. Please, Minji said, try and keep the desperation out of her voice. Our civilizations are failing without human technology. We need to talk. Your civilizations chose their path, the human replied. We have chosen ours. Minji looked at the incredible structures surrounding them. In less than 2 years, humanity had built something that challenged her understanding of what was possible. They had somehow advanced their technology by centuries. How did you do all this so quickly? She asked. The human ship moved closer, and Minji could see details of a construction that amazed her. Materials that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions. Energy systems that drew power from space itself. Design principles that her engineers would need decades to understand. Time moves differently when you're not wasting it on politics, the human voice said. When you're not limited by others' fears. When you're free to become what you were meant to be. What are you building out here? Minji asked. The future, came the simple reply. The human ship began to move away. Return to your galaxy, Commander. Tell your leaders that their choices have consequences. Tell them that humanity remembers who offered friendship and who offered chains. Wait! Minji called out. Will you ever return? Will there ever be peace between us? The human ship paused at the edge of sensor range. When the voice came back, it was softer, sadder. Peace was always possible, Commander, but it required respect. It required trust. It required seeing us as equals, not as threats to be contained. The ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving the swift arrow alone among the impossible structures. As they turned back toward the galaxy, Minji realized a terrible truth. Humanity hadn't just left. They had evolved. 2 years after the talks collapsed, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. The grand chamber that had once echoed with confident voices now buzzed with worried whispers. Fear hung in the air like a thick fog. Commander Shin Yunho stood before the assembled alien leaders. His uniform was wrinkled from sleepless nights. His hand shook slightly as he held his report. What he was about to tell them would change everything. "Honored delegates," he began, his voice hoarse. "Our deep space monitoring systems have detected something that defies all understanding. Humanity has not simply built structures in the intergalactic void. They have created an entire civilization." The chamber fell silent. The Vorthak delegate's crystal body flickered nervously. The Kepler representative's compound eyes focused intently on Yunho. The Zephyrian trade minister leaned forward in his floating chair. "The scale of construction exceeds our ability to measure," Yunho continued. "We estimate industrial capacity that surpasses our entire galactic civilization by orders of magnitude. Whatever they are building out there, it makes our greatest achievements look primitive." Dr. Han Jisu, the Council's leading expert on alien psychology, stepped forward. She had spent months studying every recorded interaction with humanity. Her conclusions were terrifying. "We made a fundamental error," she announced. "We assumed that humanity's diplomatic approach indicated weakness or desperation. We now understand it was patience. They were giving us opportunities to coexist peacefully." The Kepler delegate clicked his mandibles angrily. "Impossible. We saw their colonies. We measured their fleet strength. They were inferior to us in every way." Jisu shook her head sadly. "What we saw was restraint. Humans were being careful not to threaten us. They were trying to be good neighbors. We interpreted their kindness as weakness." The full scope of the disaster was becoming clear. Trade networks across the galaxy had collapsed completely. Without human innovations in energy systems, quantum computing, and materials science, entire civilizations found themselves decades behind their previous capabilities. The Zephyrian Collector's economy had shrunk by 60%. Their trading stations sat empty. Their manufacturing plants produced inferior goods that no one wanted to buy. The quantum computers that had made them wealthy now sat dark and useless. The Kepler Federation's military power had crumbled. Without General Kong Jaiwin's tactical software, their fleets operated like ancient warships. Their coordination was poor. Their strategies were outdated. They were no longer the dominant military force in the galaxy. Even the proud Vorthak Empire was struggling. Their cities faced regular power shortages. Their transportation networks broke down constantly. Their technology stagnated while other species began to surpass them. But worse was yet to come. Long-range sensors began detecting new signals at the galaxy's edge. Not human signals this time. Something else was moving in the cosmic void. Something ancient and vast and hostile. Dr. Lim Sungmin rushed into the council chamber with urgent data. "We have a problem," he announced breathlessly. "Unknown entities are approaching the galactic rim. The energy signatures suggest technology far beyond our understanding, and they don't appear to be friendly. The sensor data showed massive objects moving through space with purpose and intelligence. They were not ships in any sense the galaxy understood. They were more like mobile worlds, each one larger than most planets." "How long until they reach inhabited systems?" asked the Vorthak delegate, his crystal form now pulsing with alarm. "At current speed, approximately 18 months, Sungman replied. "But we have no way to communicate with them. No way to understand their intentions. No way to stop them if they prove hostile." The chamber erupted in panicked discussions. Some delegates called for immediate military mobilization. Others suggested attempting diplomatic contact. A few recommended evacuation of outer rim colonies. But then someone noticed something strange about the sensor readings. Between the approaching unknown entities and the galaxy's edge stood something else. The vast human megastructures that had been growing in the intergalactic void were positioning themselves in the path of the approaching threats. "They're forming a defensive line," whispered Commander Yunho. "Humanity is placing themselves between us and whatever is coming." The implications hit everyone at once. Humanity hadn't fled from the galaxy out of fear or anger. They had gone beyond the rim to build defenses against threats that galactic civilization didn't even know existed. While the Council had been worried about containing human expansion, humans had been preparing to protect the galaxy from dangers in the cosmic deep. A new transmission reached the council chambers, not from the approaching entities, but from somewhere in the human constructions beyond the rim. The voice was familiar, Ambassador Li Jinwu, who had walked out of these chambers 2 years earlier. Galactic Council, his voice said calmly, "We know you can detect the approaching entities. We have been monitoring them for some time. They are hostile to all organic life and possess technology that could destroy your civilization." The chamber held its breath. "Our defensive preparations are nearly complete," Jinwu continued. "The offer of cooperation remains open. When you are ready to meet as equals, we will be here. Until then, we will do what we have always done. We will protect those who cannot protect themselves." The transmission ended, leaving the council in stunned silence. They had thought they were rejecting humanity from their exclusive club. Instead, they had expelled the only species capable of defending them from the darkness between stars. The galaxy's greatest protectors were the ones they had turned away.